Then a Sports Centric, we go for a college football game preview and prediction on the 2023 Pinstripe Bowl matchup between the Miami Hurricanes and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Two teams that have had good seasons getting to this point. One team definitely feels a bit better about it than the other, though. Rutgers 6-6 on the season. Second bowl game in 3 years for Rutgers. This team is looking to build some momentum. Looking forward to the future. A nice season for them as they take on Miami, a team that went 7-5 this season. Maybe a bit of a disappointment of a season for the Hurricanes. But overall, this team is looking to get back on track. First bowl game since 2020. We'll be going for a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Let's get started with their team trends. Miami beat Boston College 45-20 to finish out the regular season. So a dominant win there for the Hurricanes. 7-5 on the season. Obviously, I mean, though 7-5 is a bit of a disappointing season for the Hurricanes once again. But considering where this team has been the past few years, this team has been in a down period. For this team to get up to 7 wins, get back to a bowl game, this is definitely something to build on, at least for Miami. But as for Rutgers, lost to Maryland 24-42. This team did lose each of their last 4 games. They actually got up to 6 wins back in mid to late October, which was definitely impressive at the time, seeing a Rutgers team bowl eligible in October, as this is a team that's just not had really any success since joining the Big Ten. I mean, they were in a bowl game 2 years ago back in 2021. So second bowl game in 3 years, this is definitely something to build on for them as well, being a team that just hasn't had a lot of success in recent time. But games be on Thursday, December 28th in Bronx, and the kickoff is 2:15 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going Rutgers by 2.5 here, so from the surface, seeing Rutgers as a favorite might surprise you, considering Rutgers has lost each of their last 4 games and not necessarily even close either. And Miami's a team that just won their last. And overall, the Hurricanes probably are the more talented team in this matchup, but also they are missing a lot of their key talent. That's something to not overlook here, as well as that Miami's had a lot of players head to the transfer portal. But FPI still going with the Hurricanes, 66%, over under 41.5. You look at the bowl history, Miami 19-22 overall. Their last bowl game was back in 2020, which would have been the Cheez Bowl against Oklahoma State. Their last bowl win came back in 2016, which would have been the Russell Athletic Bowl against West Virginia, where the Hurricanes won 31-14. As for Rutgers, they were in the Gator Bowl back in 2021, lost to Wake Forest. But then the game before that would have been 2014, where they were in the Quick Lane Bowl against North Carolina and beat them 40-21. If I remember right, though, for 2021, this team wasn't even bowl eligible, though. They actually took the place of, I believe it was Texas A&M in that matchup because of COVID concerns. And so for Rutgers, this is the first season they've actually gotten to bowl eligibility in quite a while. Your stat comparison, Miami 36th in points per game. They're actually 43rd in points allowed, pass yards a game, and rush yards a game. So a pretty middle-of-the-road team there. 75th in pass yards a game, and then 14th in rush yards a game. So a strong rush defense here in Miami. As for Rutgers, 110th in points per game, but a strong defensive team here. 32nd in points allowed. They're 18th in pass defense, 47th in rush defense, and then they're 127th in pass yards a game. This team has really struggled in the quarterback situation. You got Gavin Wimsatt, who's been the starter the entire season and really hasn't done much. It's really been down to the rushing game. And, well, I mean, passing-wise, he hasn't done much. As far as it goes with the running game, he has contributed to that. And also you got Kyle Monangai, who has been overall pretty impressive, 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns on the season for him. Your recent matchups, Miami beat Boston College 45-20 before that. A couple of really tough close losses. Lost to Louisville by a touchdown. Lost to Florida State by a touchdown. That's when Florida State was really at their peak. So, I mean, they competed right up next to Florida State, a team that could have been in the college football playoff this season. Lost to NC State 20-6. Beat Virginia by 3 in overtime. So that's obviously a game you expect to maybe win by more. And then before that, they beat Clemson in double overtime. But bottom line is, I think for Miami, this team, otherwise, in September, this team was pretty dominant. They had a really impressive start to the season at 4-0. But after that, once it got to October, this team really plays to their competition, I've noticed. Maybe except for the Boston College game, they were pretty dominant. But they lost to Georgia Tech. They almost lost to Virginia, had to take it to overtime. And otherwise, they competed right up against some pretty good teams like North Carolina or Florida State or Louisville, but couldn't find ways to win. So, this team is competitive, though. They don't usually get blown out, that's for sure. But for Rutgers, they have gone blown out 24-42 by Maryland. Lost to Penn State 6-27. Shutout to Iowa 22-0. Lost to Ohio State 16-35. So obviously November was tough for Rutgers, but this team wasn't even competitive in any of their November games. So that is something that is kind of a downside to picking Rutgers in this one. They did beat Indiana before that in October 31-14. They also beat Virginia Tech this season, dominated Northwestern. September was really impressive for Rutgers. They started the season 3-0 with really impressive wins over Northwestern and Virginia Tech, two teams that turned out to have pretty good seasons. And but obviously reality kind of hit later on in the season when this team took on tough team after tough team after tough team, and Ohio State, Iowa, and then Penn State, especially tough defenses there. But your key points: Miami 7-5. Tyler Van Dyke is gone. He was the starting quarterback for this team the entire season, so it's up to Ja'Cory Brown for the Hurricanes now, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is probably the one game where we're going to see him here in the next couple of years. As looks like for Miami, Cam Ward's coming in. Once again, that's not official by any means. It just sounds like that's what's going to happen. And for the Hurricanes, if that can happen, that would be huge for this offense. Cam Ward is a really impressive quarterback with a lot of potential. I think he'd do really well in Miami, so we'll see what happens there. But the Canes have been competitive, but a bit disappointing this season. That's kind of been the bottom line. And this is a balanced team, but they are missing a lot of their key talent. For Rutgers, that is not the case. Rutgers hasn't had a lot of players in the transfer portal or heading to the NFL draft or anything. So, I mean, they've retained their key talent. That is huge heading into bowl season now with the transfer portal and everything that's happened. And so for Rutgers, they've been poor down the stretch, but they got most of their key talent still in this matchup, most notably Kyle Monangai, who's been great this season. He's been very significant to the offense. And so it's really up to the rushing game, though, for Rutgers. Miami's got a pretty strong rush defense, which does concern me. I think if Rutgers is able to move the ball and score some points that way, they should be able to win this matchup. But that's just not a guarantee in this matchup. But with that, let's get a prediction for Miami and Rutgers coming up here in the Pinstripe Bowl. In the end, I am going with Miami 23-17. I do think the Hurricanes find a way to win this matchup. I think they're able to shut down Rutgers. And I think that also they play into the hand in this matchup better than Rutgers does. Thing is that you got concerns on both sides. I feel like the matchup's better for Miami, but also the Hurricanes are without a lot of their key talent. That's kind of what it does concern me for Miami in this game. But I think Rutgers too. In November, this team was just shut down game after game. They had some pretty good momentum, especially in September, October, but that is just completely fallen apart in the last month of action. And so I think Rutgers is competitive. I think they keep it close and put up a fight here, but I just have more confidence in Miami to win this matchup in the end. But I'll say 55% towards the Hurricanes. I'm taking the under for sure in this one. I think that this is one of those games that could be pretty ugly, pretty low scoring, and Miami covers the spread in the end. But with that, let me know your thoughts and comments below on the Pinstripe Bowl, your score predictions, all of that. My name's Evan. This is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you on the next one.